Hey everyone, and welcome back to OntarioCyrptids. I hope you're all having a great Easter weekend. We are still in lockdown mode, so no extended family visits here in Toronto. However, I will be making the best of it here at home with my son and 2 dogs. I hope you can all also enjoy this long weekend with family or friends. Today, I have 3 great stories to share with you all. It will be somewhat of a short episode this week, but I think you will all enjoy these stories. So go grab yourself a beverage and get cozy on the couch or chair and sit back and relax. The first story of the day takes place on November 11th, 2008. The nearest town is Baker, and it takes place in Okaloosa County, Florida. On November 11th, 2008, I was kayaking on the Yellow River in northwest Florida Panhandle when I heard a vocal moan to a yell. As I got on down the river, I smelt a very musky, wet dog smell and heard sticks breaking, but not as much as you would think. Then the big stuff happened. Out of nowhere, a big rock came flying out of the trees and hit the water. I thought it was a person or something, so I yelled out, "Hello, what are you doing?" Nothing, no sounds, not even a bird. Then another rock about the size of my head almost hit my kayak. That set off a bunch of coyotes like they were on something. Followed by a sound so loud it scared me. I heard crashing sounds like trees breaking, and then a dog or coyote screamed as if in pain, barking, yelping, and some sound that I cannot identify. Sounds like they were fighting. The river trip was 25 miles long, and it sounded like I was followed the whole way. I don't know what it was. I never saw it, but I heard it and smelt it and got rocks thrown at me. It was scary, to say the least. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. It wouldn't be the coyotes throwing rocks at your kayak as you're going downriver. Great story. It sounds like maybe the coyotes had a run-in with something big and hairy. Anyways, let's get to story number 2. Okay, this encounter takes place on December 26, 2020. The nearest town is Crestview. We are still in Okaloosa County, Florida. My husband and I were sitting in the woods hunting white-tailed deer in the Jackson South portion of Elgin Air Force Base in northern Florida, about an hour from Alabama. We were wearing hunter orange vests, sitting and facing each other in the brush when we heard a loud crunch. My husband thought it was a buck before it came into view 60 to 80 yards away. I saw his face react as if he was seeing something frightening. He grabbed my shirt and directed my attention behind me in the direction of the sound. I turned to look about 80 yards out to see a massive human-like figure standing over 7 feet tall on 2 legs. We both saw the figure as it was looking at us. It was covered in medium longish brown hair, looking from behind a large oak tree at the end of a bottom towards the entrance of a branch head. We continued to sit quietly, though scared. About 30 minutes later, we heard another loud crunch, and right behind a pine tree we looked, and another 80 yards out, heading towards the bottom, we see the same large, hairy human figure turning and heading deeper into the creek bottom. I always find it interesting that when people spot these Sasquatches or Bigfoot, it seems like their eyes lock on at the same time, as in this story here with this couple. They had a bit of a stare down. And the other interesting piece about this is how it seemed to hang around for a good 30 minutes to see what these two were doing sitting in the woods. But anyways, great story. And now we're going to move on to the last story of the day. All right, so this last story takes place on April 11th, 2020, and it takes place just before Easter weekend. So there you have it. Let's get right to it. The Saturday night before Easter 2020, I was sitting outside by a crackling fire all alone. It was about 11:30 at night, and I had some music playing low on a small Bluetooth speaker. From way deep in the valley below me, and I mean it's a huge expanse of woods back there, a couple of miles to the next road, I heard a bone-chilling ethereal howl. Then I heard it again. I turned off my music and listened intently. I heard it 3 more times over the next minute or so. Too faint to record, but loud enough to hear besides the crackling pine fire. Each instance was 3 to 5 seconds long, sounded whoo, started soft, picked up in intensity, then tailed off. Whatever it was very loud, very powerful, almost resonated like a train whistle does from a distance. I could also tell that the sound was projected in different directions in a couple of the howls. I have spent a lot of time in the woods in my life. I'm an avid hunter and an all-round outdoorsman. I'm familiar with the animals that live here in Pennsylvania, and I know I didn't hear one of them. I know what barred owls sound like: coyotes, dogs, people. Pretty sure this was none of those. Whatever made that sound was large and powerful. It stood the hairs on my neck. I sat listening for another half hour or so and didn't hear it again. That's when my mind got to wandering. I spent pretty much the entire next day, Easter Sunday, listening to recordings on YouTubes and the like, and a few sounded a lot like what I heard. A supposed Bigfoot recording from Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, and the 1994 Ohio Howl in particular were eerily similar. What I heard was slightly higher in pitch than the Ohio sounds, but almost identical in tone change, cadence, and duration. It's worth noting that I actually live about 15 miles east of the area where that was recorded. On another evening a couple months later, in June of 2020, a neighbor and I were sitting around the fire out back, and we were suddenly overcome by a putrid smell. He at first said skunk, then quickly said no. What the is that? It was almost like rotting flesh mixed with a river bottom muck and animal musk. Very rank. Lasted about 30 seconds, then was gone. I checked the area with a flashlight and didn't see or hear anything or any further smells. We decided maybe someone's septic was outgassing and just carried on with our fireside conversation, which then turned into my earlier sound experience. So this person either has a cottage or he lives out in a very remote area surrounded by a lot of reserves or parkland area. In any case, very unusual. And I did add the 1994 Ohio Howl audio clip that I found on the BFRO site. I have personally not heard it before, so I did take a listen. It is an unusual sound. So if you've never heard it, click on the link below in the description of this video to take a listen. So that wraps up all of the encounter stories for today. Like I said, this was going to be a short episode, and I do hope you all have some great fantastic time with your families this weekend. And if these stories reminded you of an encounter that you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCyrptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story on this channel. This might even be a therapeutic experience for you to finally get it off your chest. Thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out and subscribe to my channel if you are new. Have a fantastic Easter Sunday, and I will see you all next week.